Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The regulation of growth hormone secretion is discussed in this video. So the growth hormone has got a short duration of action, but its long-lasting effect or exerted effect are made possible by the action of somatomedin C. The growth hormone is weakly bound to the plasma protein, so it is rapidly released, while somatomedin bind plasma protein strongly, so they are released very slowly. So the half-life of growth hormone is about 20 minutes, while somatomedin have got the half-life of 20 hours. So in spite of early release and slow release of the growth hormone, the long-lasting effects are made possible by somatomedins. This graph is illustrating the diurnal secretion pattern of growth hormone in plasma that is measured in nanogram per ml of the plasma over a 24 hours period from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the next day. On the x-axis, the time of the day is given that spans the time duration 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. a 24-hour graph, and the major points that are labeled are 8 a.m., noon, then 4 p.m., 8 p.m., midnight, 4 a.m., and 8 a.m. On the x-axis, the growth hormone concentration on the y-axis. The growth hormone concentration is given, and this growth hormone concentration, it scales from 0 to 30. In the morning 8 a.m. there is low growth hormone level, and small pulses of the growth hormone may occur, while in midday there is sharp spike in the growth hormone. Here at 12 there is sharp spike in the growth hormone is observed, and this is correlated with strenuous exercise, and peak reaches nearly about 30 nanogram per ml. In the afternoon and evening from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. there is fluctuation in the growth hormone level with multiple small pulses, and in the night time during the sleep after 10 p.m. there is again major growth hormone spike during early sleep phase, and this is another significant pulse, possibly due to deep sleep stage or slow wave sleep. In the early morning, then 2 to 8 a.m., there is again decreased growth hormone level with several small pulses. So how do you interpret this graph? So this growth hormone is secreted in bursts, that is pulsatile pattern. There is no steady release of this hormone. The sleep, especially deep sleep, causes the major release of this growth hormone into the blood, and strenuous physical activity also triggers a temporary surge of this growth hormone. This pulsatility helps explain the short half-life of the growth hormone, but prolonged effect that is exerted through somatomedin C or insulin-like growth factor 1. So here both of these, the somatomedin and growth hormone, are compared in this table, and you can see here that the protein binding of the growth hormone is weak, while there is strong protein binding for somatomedin C. Half-life of the growth hormone is less than 20 minutes, while Somatomatin's half-life is approximately 20 hours, and time to tissue entry is fast for growth hormone while it is slow for somatomatin, and duration of action of growth hormone is short while the somatomatin duration of effect is long. So what is the role of growth hormone? It triggers insulin like growth factor 1 production, while this insulin like growth factor 1 they sustain the effect of the growth hormone. So the growth hormone acts quickly but briefly, while insulin like growth factor 1 ensures long lasting growth effect, allowing the body to maintain consistent tissue development with only pushed growth hormone secretion. So the growth hormone secretion is high during adolescence, while there is gradual decline with the age. It decreases to about 25% of the adolescent level in old age. There is pulsatile release of the growth hormone, and its major peak is in the first 2 hours of the sleep, as we have seen in the previous graphic presentation. The other stimulatory effect of this are starvation, especially with the deficiency of the protein, hypoglycemia that is associated with low blood sugar or low free fatty acids in the blood are also responsible for growth hormone secretion. Exercise also increases its release, while it is also secreted in during the excitatory movements. Trauma also causes the release of this growth hormone, while gurgling that is released from the stomach before the meals, it also increases the secretion of the growth hormone. The adult have got about 1.6 to 3 nanogram per ml of the growth hormone, while child blood concentration for this hormone is 6 nanogram per ml. And during starvation, it may go up to 50 nanogram per milliliter. So there are differences between the acute and chronic regulation. When there is acute deficiency, the primary stimulus is hypoglycemia, while in chronic deficiency, the protein deficiency that occurs in the chronic starvation is the main driver in chronic increase in this hormone. So protein depletion is the strongest long-term signal for elevated growth hormone secretion. This table is summarizing the factors that stimulate or inhibit secretion of growth hormone. So there are some factors that stimulate the growth hormone secretion. These factors promote the release of the growth hormone into the blood, and these are the decreased blood glucose level, decreased blood free fatty acid, increased blood amino acid, especially the arginine, starvation and fasting, particularly with protein deficiency, trauma, stress, excitement, exercise, testosterone or increased estrogen, then deep sleep, especially the stage 2 and 4 of the sleep, are associated with increased growth hormone secretion. The growth hormone releasing hormone is also a contributory factor, while ghrelin, that is hunger hormone, is also associated with. factors that stimulate the growth hormone secretion, while the factors that inhibit the causes of inhibition of growth hormone secretion that suppress the growth hormone release are increased blood glucose, increased blood free fatty acid, aging, obesity, growth hormone, inhibitory hormone, or somatostatin. If the exogenous growth hormone is taken or injected, the somatostatin or insulin-like growth factors, increased blood glucose, increased free fatty acid, and aging. So the growth hormone is triggered by stress, nutrients, scarcity, and physical activity, suggesting a survival or adaptive role. It is suppressed when energy or hormonal balance signal abundance, such as high fat, high glucose, or high concentration of insulin-like growth factor, indicating a negative feedback. This bar graph is showing how plasma growth hormone level changes in response to protein deficiency and subsequent treatment with carbohydrate or protein. On the x-axis, there is this plasma, uh, this is treatment on the x-axis. On the y, there is a level of these plasma growth hormone from 0 to 40 nanogram per milliliter. So protein deficiency, they are Kashikor, there is increased growth hormone. The growth hormone levels are very high, approximately 40 nanogram per ml, indicating the body's response to protein starvation. While here in the second bar, here after, after 3 days of the carbohydrate treatment, the level of the growth hormone is still the same. So it is showing that carbohydrates alone do not reduce growth hormone level in protein deficient states. However, when protein treatment is started, it comes down and it drops significantly, indicating early signs of protein replacement uh, begins to reduce the growth hormone. Then, after 25 days of the protein treatment, the growth hormone level further grows down. It goes further down, showing that prolonged protein therapy restores the growth hormone to near normal level. So, high level in protein deficiency act as a compensatory mechanism for the growth and repair, and only protein, not the carbohydrate, only protein can effectively lower the growth hormone level over time. This emphasizes the nutritional regulation of growth hormone, especially in protein deficient conditions like kwashiorkor. So protein deficiency must also be corrected before the growth hormone concentration will return to the normal. So this is the table to reinforce this concept. Here you can again see the growth hormone related elevated in protein deficient state even when the calorie rich diet is given. Only protein repletion, not just calories, only the protein replenishment or protein replacement can correct the imbalance. The growth hormone act as a compensatory response to protein shortage, attempting to support growth and metabolism. So, clinically, the effective treatment of kwashiorkor or similar condition must must include adequate protein, not just energy or carbohydrate, to fully restore the metabolic balance and reduce the elevated growth hormone concentration. The release of the growth hormone is governed by two factors that are released from the hypothalamus. One is growth hormone releasing hormone, and another is the growth hormone inhibitory hormone, that is also termed as somatostatin. So these are the polypeptides, and the growth hormone releasing hormone has got about 44 amino acid, while the somatostatin or growth hormone inhibitory hormone is smaller. Contains about 14 amino acid. These polypeptides reach to the anterior pituitary through the hypothalamic hypophyseal portal system, and therefore the growth hormone secretion is controlled by these two polypeptides. The growth hormone releasing hormone is released from the ventromedial nucleus of the hypothalamus. This is the same area that is responsible for sensing of the blood sugar level. If the blood sugar is high, it gives the condition of satiety, and if the blood sugar is low, it gives the feeling of the hunger. While the somatostatin or growth inhibitory hormone is released from the other hypothalamic area. Then these ventromedial nucleus is activated in during emotions, stress, and trauma that are responsible for release of catecholamine, dopamine, and serotonin, and all these are controlled by various sets of the neurons. So this role of the hypothalamus in the control of the release of growth hormone is summarized as the growth hormone releasing hormone that is secreted by the ventromedial nucleus. It contains 44 amino acid and stimulates the growth hormone secretion, while somatostatin is secreted by other nearby hypothalamic nuclei, and it is smaller, and it contains only 14 amino acid, and it has got an inhibitory effect on release of growth hormone, while this ventromedial nucleus, we know that it senses the blood glucose level also. It is responsible for satiety in hyperglycemia and hunger in hypoglycemia. And then the blood glucose level, when low, it increases the growth hormone release because it triggers growth hormone releasing hormone from the ventromedial nucleus. If the blood glucose is high, it decreases the growth hormone because it is linked, this process is linked with the somatostatin secretion. Then stress, trauma, or emotion, they increase the growth hormone release because of increased hypothalamic activity. Catecholamine release also, especially the norepinephrine, also increases the growth hormone release, and this is activated through stress related signaling. Dopamine and serotonin also increases the growth hormone release, because they enhance hypothalamic growth hormone release. So the hypothalamus act as a command center integrate that integrate the metabolic signals, nutritional state, and emotional stimuli to regulate the growth hormone secretion through a balance of growth hormone releasing hormone and somatostatin. The growth hormone secretion is tightly regulated by negative feedback, and this activity of the growth hormone releasing hormone, it is also responsible for the release of the growth hormone. So what is the mechanism of action of this growth hormone releasing hormone? This growth hormone releasing hormone, it binds with its receptor on the somatotrope and then is responsible for increased adenylyl cyclase activity that is responsible for increased cyclic AMP within the somatotrope. And there are long-term and short-term effect produced. The short-term effect is that there is increased calcium transport into the cell, and within minutes there is fusion of the growth hormone secretory vesicles with the cell membrane and hormone releases into the blood. And the long-term effect are the increased transcription in the nucleus by genes to stimulate synthesis of new growth hormone. So there is also uh, feedback inhibition if there is exogenous growth hormone taken. This is through unknown mechanism. So how this mechanism is regulated? The nutritional deficiency, if occur, there is a need for the excess tissue. So the growth hormone is released with an increased concentration that is responsible for increased protein synthesis and also responsible for protein conservation to provide the tissue that is needed for the body. So nutritional deficiency or excess tissue need for cellular protein are the basic stimulus that causes the release of increased growth hormone into the body. So the long-term regulator are nutritional state of the tissue and particularly protein availability, and major stimulus is deficiency of the protein. So growth hormone, when it is secreted, it causes increased protein synthesis, and also it has got a protein sparing effect, so it reduces the breakdown of the protein. So what is the cycle of regulation? Whenever there is protein deficiency or high demand, the cellular protein is decreased, so the growth hormone secretion is increased, and the growth hormone response is then to form new protein and decrease the breakdown of existing protein. So by these mechanisms, there is nutritional recovery, and this growth hormone gradually return to baseline as protein stores are replenished. So this is a nutrient responsive hormone, especially for protein, mobilizing resources to rebuild and preserve lean body mass. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any query, please write in the comment box.